Tonight, I am going to give a brief report, and I'm going to include some of the data slides that I skipped over last month because of a long meeting. It's an update on some of the culture and climate and progress at East thus far and things that we're tracking as we hit the final stretch of school. For those in the audience who can't see these slides, I apologize, but they'll be available on the board docs. We continue to track our progress, and we're happy to report that our lower school results are well above the goal of 85. They're around 91%, the state goal, that is. And in upper school, we're still tracking the attendance to surpass 85%. One of the issues that we're finding is the half-day releases in school. We have attendance rates that are extremely low. And so we're trying to be creative and thoughtful about what we offer kids. We tried field days, we tried to do some sort of practice events, but for the most part, those half-day releases, our kids are not attending, and we're trying to figure out creative ways to solve that and to keep them in school and engaged on those half-day releases. This is a slide that I'll have you look at your own leisure, but we're also tracking how our students are doing since before the EPO for 2 years and after, to see if we're seeing progress in those key regions and areas, and then determining how to spend our funding to target certain areas. And we see that in science and in U.S. history, there is a need and desire to continue to revise curriculum in those areas. And so the board will see throughout the rest of this year and into next year a focus and shift towards science and history as graduation indicators for students. However, I want to also illustrate this chart as well, because this is a point of pride for us, and it's something that tells a different story. If you look at the first chart alone, and you can look at the other ones from there, you'll see the freshman year results. The first line is 27.5%, and that was where students performed on the algebra exam. Those students who would have been freshmen 4 years ago. The second chart compares the results from students who are freshmen now. So if you look at each of those categories, we took and looked at it from a cohort lens to see if we're making adequate progress for students in those key areas, in math, science, world history, English, and U.S. history. And again, it tells us a story that there is significant progress being made in most areas, but science continues to be a struggle for us, particularly in living environment. And we are working with the district as well to see what are some effective practices within the district where kids are having success, and also with the state education department to see how we might make curricular changes to address the critical needs of those students. The good thing is it's an exam that's given as freshmen, so we have 3 years to catch kids up. The bad thing is we want kids to pass it on their first try. And so we're struggling. That's an area of struggle for us, and we reached out to the RCSD and also some of the county schools to see what's happening and what are we missing that's preventing us from hitting the marks in a living environment. For those new to the board, I tell the good, the bad, and the ugly, so I don't just share good news. We share everything. And it's for the purpose of trying to improve, and process improvement is important. This is a slide that Van asks for every single year. The anticipated graduation rate in progress. And I want to just say it again, as I say every year, this is a projection. So please do not hold me to this in August if we're off by a couple points. But based on our preliminary work, those who recall when we first came in, prior to the January exam, the graduation rate at East was projected to be 19%. And we are proud to say that projected graduation rate for August of this year should be somewhere between 55 and 62%, based on our projections and how students are progressing through school. And we'll talk more about that in later board meetings.
Dr. Nelms, let me just say, and I was saying to Vice President Powell, it requires real discipline to sit up here and not respond, and that is the board's practice. We let the people speak. But tonight, somebody said, oh, you know, that EPO thing, it hasn't produced any results. It took all my strength and power not to say something. And again, I know as we sit up here, it's very challenging, but that's our job. Yeah. Our job is to listen. And that's why we set aside that time. But thank you. I wish that person were still here, but this is going to be posted on the website somewhere.
And I would say, and I would say that then it's my job to go out and clarify. So I did speak with the speaker and invited him to the building to learn more about what we're doing as a district, not just East, as a district, to address these issues. And he's agreed to come and have a conversation about that. We'll set that up with him. And I appreciate him being open to that conversation as well. And then I want to just also discuss one of the expansions of East, which is a U of R focus, is the creation of a new center. And the center is designed to take the lessons that are learned at East so we can share it more broadly. It is to write research briefs that are public and to encourage districts throughout the state and the schools in Rochester to take our lessons learned, the things that we failed at, the things that we've been successful at so far, and to hopefully either scale up or to modify and adjust some of the things that we've done to improve our performance. There is a symposium in April 28th. I encourage people to attend. We had a target of 200 participants. This is being paid for through the Community Schools Grant, and we've already hit 200, so we opened up to 50 more slots. But we're going to cap it at 250 because we just don't have the capacity to do it. So I'm going to encourage the community members who are interested to please sign up. You can go to the Q's website that's been shared, and there are, I believe, over 140 RCSD non-East teachers who will be in attendance. And so it is something that is shared. One of the intentions of the EPO was to share information broadly, and I'm really happy that teachers throughout the district have shown some interest and understanding what we're doing, but also to add to the conversation so we can improve our efforts. I always try to end with acknowledging some students, and I want to definitely do that with these three young ladies. The two ladies on my left of the screen have a GPA of a 4.0, but it's really the story about these students that's more important. And these are students who went through refugee camps and were not educated for some years, and had attacks in their home and lost relatives and religious wars, and they have been resilient, and I'm very proud of them and their family for trusting in the RCSD system and taking full advantage of all that we have to offer. And there are many, many stories throughout this district that should be celebrated as well. And then the young lady on the right she was a 2018 MLK Dreamers and Doers Award. If you know her and her story, you talk about a young lady who's overcome insurmountable odds within her home and in her community, and all types of things that I can't talk to today. To be able to stand as a senior and say she's graduating and at the hip of her counselors and her social workers all the way through, this girl is going to be something special, and we're very, very proud of her. And I told her that tonight she's going viral. So I told her she's going to be at the board meeting, and she said, all right, take a picture for me. So, but she is absolutely incredible lady, a young lady that we almost lost a couple of years ago. And I'm happy that she rededicated herself to school and used the school system to be her beacon. And so we're very proud of all three of these young ladies, and that concludes my report. I want to also say there are flyers out on the table outside the boardroom for those who are interested in learning more about the symposium and sharing that good news with others.
Any questions for Dr. Nelms? Comments? I would just like to recognize a good friend of mine and a person who is responsible for, in part, for making the EPO thing happen at East, Professor Larson. Hi, how you doing? She's a special person, and she continues to make contributions to our community. So thank you, Joe. Yep. I
always apologize to the board. Lorna, Ms. Washington, and Carlene Pierce will be here to answer questions after this with our any for the resolutions. I promised my daughter I would be home to get her and do something tonight at 9:30, and when the meeting was canceled, I did not want to break that promise. So I am going to gracefully bow out and say good night.
Good night.
All right.